Today on Commander Replay, we're back with some more Heliod Suncrowned, and after getting lit up in Game 1, this time we're gonna get a better look at it. Next on Commander Replay. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. We have one new Patreon supporter in Michael Brandenburg. Michael, you are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below. And be sure to use the TCG affiliate player link, as it helps support the channel and it doesn't cost you anything. Welcome back, everyone. Playing some more Heliod Suncrowned today. Take a look at this opening hand. No white mana, kind of an issue for me. Two-lander, I think that's a mulligan. Lots of cool other cards, but not so much the ability to cast them. Oof, this one's not amazing either. Third land gets us the ability to activate Makokoro, which can solve some problems. Oh, how many lands are we on right now? We are on 37 lands. Oh, this one's risky, but I'm going to keep it. I can't say I love it, but I don't know. Going to 6 in a mono white deck also seems bad, but if we get stuck and do nothing, then going to 6 was the right choice. If we draw out of it, then staying on 7 was the right choice. So, I don't know. Kind of a tough mulligan call right there, especially when you know you don't have great access to card draw, and we are looking at a little bit of card draw in our deck in Well of Lost Dreams and Makokoro. There's a Soul Warden. Yeah, it's something. Play the Mistveil Plains first since it does come in tapped. Would like to find that third land pretty soon, though. So, taking a look at what Heliod does, 3 mana, 5/5, is not a creature. If your devotion to white is less than 5, it's indestructible. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature or enchantment you control, and pay 1 and a white, another target creature gains lifelink until end of turn. This is finally the life gain payoff that we've been needing out of the command zone for mono white for a very long time, so that's exciting. Ooh, that's a mana crypt for opponent. So, it feels really nice to have a life gain payoff that is a legendary creature for mono white. That's the thing that's just been missing. I've talked about it a bunch in the video I did on mono white about white needing more payoffs. Heliod is a pretty solid one, and it does combo with Walking Ballista and Triskelion. I'm not running either of those today. I know what those can do. They win the game. We're going for a little bit more mid-powered today, so because of that, and because I'm just trying to test out as many cards as I can possibly test, get a feel on other cards that are more of a question mark in the deck. I left out the big finishers, but obviously if you're playing in a stronger group and trying to win, you're going to want those. And probably a few ways to tutor for them, but that's just not what we're doing today. So, Victory's Herald, not what we want. Oh, hope to find that third land soon. Let's play a Soul Warden. Mana Crypt flip for our opponent. They win Mana Crypt into Soul Ring. What are they playing? Oh, they're playing the first Sliver? Yeah, this is all going to be bad. I mean, I guess at least the slightly good news is that it doesn't get them colored mana, but the second they hit a Cultivate or something, then, they'll have lots of colored mana. Yeah, here comes a Template Discovery. I have to take it. That's just what I have to do. Can't say I love it, but maybe we go for a Myriad Landscape. Looks like Tyrant said yes, GVR said no. Yeah, I think we're going to have to take it. Doesn't feel great, and high likelihood this could just lose us the game. I think it's going to be the Myriad Landscape right here. I mean, opponent can cast the first Sliver next turn. Next turn will be turn 3. Ugh. Hopefully someone brought some removal. There's a Conspiracy. Cool. Here comes a Thassa Deepwelling. Yep. We are third in the turn order. It's not amazing. And opponent will get that Thassa trigger. Nothing to target with it. By the way, first Sliver did lay down a Conspiracy naming Sliver, so whenever they cast any creature now, this is a not Slivers deck. It's going to cascade with the first Sliver, so things going to get pretty wild. I think I'm going to go for our Commander right here, because I'm expecting a lot of creatures to come in off of the first Sliver, so if nothing else, at least maybe we can get a huge creature out of the deal. Siona, Captain of Pylea, is coming into play. Here's an interesting one. Take a look at this. Enters the battlefield, look at the top 7 cards of your library, reveal an aura card from among them, put it in your hand, the rest on the bottom. When an aura you control becomes attached to a creature you control, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Pretty cool little card. I know a lot of people were excited about an Aura Voltron thing with Siona. There's a land, thankfully. Actually, yeah, so let's do this. Let's get Heliod into play. Is not a creature, so does not trigger the Soul Warden. And then we'll play the Kabira Crossroads. That'll gain us some life. And that will trigger Heliod Suncrowned. So let's put some counters on the Soul Warden. Get that out of easy kill range. Turn it into a valuable attacker blocker. Am I expecting anything with haste? Maybe. Don't really know what to expect out of a not Sliver deck. And that is Lord of the Board piloting that deck, by the way. The question they had before the game, is it too explosive? I'm like, I said, well, just bring it and we'll get a feel and see what's happening. But when they double Mana Rock at the start, that's obviously going to speed them up like crazy into a Temp with Discovery that two of us took, which is like generally bad magic, but I also didn't want to get land stuck, so especially this early in the game. Hey, it's a Sire of Stagnation, no big deal. At least they didn't go for the first Sliver first. We do gain some life off the Soul Warden. We'll put a counter on the Soul Warden. But Sire of Stagnation is a super nasty card. One that surprisingly doesn't see more play. I mean, I get it. There's a lot of nasty things you can do at 6 mana, but that one's really good. Draws you a lot of cards, sort of like Consecrated Sphinx number 2. Maybe not quite as good, but still very close. There's a Cabal coming in for opponent, so another Souls Warden trigger, another Heliod trigger. Ideally, someone can get rid of this Sire of Stagnation. There's the land before they draw cards, but that's the landfall trigger, so they're going to get 2 more cards. Is our next step... Cracking Myriad Landscape is not amazing with the Sire of Stagnation in play. Well of Lost Dreams might be a little bit better, and try to draw our way into stuff. We'll only have mana to draw for 1, but still drawing for 1, and then hopefully more on the following turns. Seems okay. Thassa's going to get an end-step trigger. Leave some open mana. Looks like they've got 5 open mana. Hopefully some good news in that 5 open mana. Some kind of removal. Maybe it's true that this deck is removal light right now, and needs a bit more. Another land, another Sire Stagnation trigger. Ugh. Swords on Cabal. Whoa. Whoa. Can't say I agree with that play. Swords the Plowshares on the Cabal. Opponent points out they could have shot Sire before land drop. Yep. Okay, Imprison in the Moon on Sire. I think I would have gone the other way on that, because Imprison in the Moon can go away, where Cabal is in exile. It is probably not coming back. Opponent does go back up to 5 cards. They are ramped like no other. And opponent going to send 2 damage their way. Yeah, that seems fair. Totally legit. Thinking, now that that's gone, I think I'm back on Kraken Myriad Landscape, maybe. Brings back to our turn, we draw a Swords. Well, we could have used that. We're on 4 mana. Cracking the Myriad Landscape puts us on 5. Seems like a pretty good idea. We have the Sun Titan, so we can get that back after. I think I do like all of that. Yeah, let's just crack it, and we'll sit on the Swords, I guess. So get ourselves 2 planes. Do some attacking. Mana Crypt flip for opponent. Here comes the first Sliver. It's going to Cascade. Ooh, into a Wheel of Sun and Moon? We get a Souls Warden trigger, we get a Heliod trigger. I think I want to pump our commander up a little bit, at least if we can at least get it to 7/7 when it does become a creature. It can trade with the first Sliver, and I like the sound of that. Opponent's gonna Blue Sun Zenith for X2. Wow, just trying to find anything, probably trying to find lands. Don't blame them. I don't blame them. Opponent's gonna Cascade a Twilight Prophet into a wheel. Well, should have fired our Swords off sooner. And apparently I was autoed, so we didn't get to play our Swords at all. But at least we found some mana. I can't say I was in love with any of that. Does trigger Heliod again. Pump up Heliod. Crested Sunmare will be really good. Can't wait to get that one in. So as much as I'm a little bit frustrated about losing the removal right there, all those things were kind of just rotting in our hands and not doing anything, so... This hand has much more action. It has the lands we need. It's got some cost reduction. It's got some tricks. There's a Cage Sun for opponent. Thassa end step trigger. Nothing to target. Exploration for opponent. That's really good after a wheel. To get rid of a Teferi's Protection or Mirari's Wake from the Tuvasa opponent. By the way, finishing on our opponents, we have GVR piloting Thassa Deep Dwelling. Not sure what they're up to yet, but it is the Conjurer's Closet Commander. Blind Obedience coming in for opponent. Oh, that slows the game down. Artifacts and creatures. Okay, not lands, not lands. Root Maze is the really terrible one, but Blind Obedience still really good. Luckily for us, we are a life gain deck, which does offset the Blind Obedience life loss a bit. There's an Afara coming in. That's an Austere Command. What are we hitting with that? Probably Enchantments. Enchantments brings back the Sire of Stagnation. Can't say I love that. Enchantments, big creatures? Maybe we wait, but do we get wheeled again? I'm gonna wait and hope we don't get wheeled again. It's risky, I can't say I love it, but gonna try it. Instead of going from a little bit of value, we're going to try to get all the value out of this austere command if we can catch everyone with low cards in hand. That's ideally where you want to be. So go for the Oketra's Monument first, then get the Crested Sunmare, and this should be pretty good. That'll trigger the Oketra's Monument, which will trigger the Soul Warden, which triggers Heliod. I'm going to keep pumping up Heliod. And all of that happens again as the Sunmare enters the battlefield. Heliod getting very large. Okay, so as long as we survive this, if a bunch of creatures come raining into play next turn, also we get these Crested Sunmare triggers, then Heliod's going to be like one-hit lethal, I think. He's got 5 counters on him already. There's a Twilight Prophet and a Mana Crypt flip for opponent. There's a Vizier of the Menagerie, that'll cascade, into a Mox Tantalite, which triggers the Soul Warden, triggers Heliod, target Heliod. There's a Demonic Tutor for opponent. What do they go for right here? Probably a combo piece. Rift would be bad. By my count, they're on 6 mana, so I think we have a turn on Rift. That's a Joda. That's going to cascade into an Edric, into a Vampiric Tutor. Well, I guess they've gone through all the cascades, I think. But if they cast something else, another counter on Heliod. There's a Kira Great Glass Spinner, so that's going to make single target removal really difficult. It'll cascade into a Bloom Tender, which cascades into a Birds of Paradise, which cascades into a Wheel of Fate. It's back. Was going to use that austere command. Try to ride ourselves to victory. Hopefully another board wipe. Let's see what we got. We got Heliod's Intervention, not the board wipe we were looking for. How about some evasion? Nope, none of that either. Dawn of Hope does allow us to draw cards. Opponent only has 2 blockers. Can we get rid of the blockers somehow? Heliod going to be at 16 power the second it becomes a creature. Opponent going on the attack. Going to send Twilight Prophet our way. Edric will trigger. Crested Sunmare is going to trigger at the end step, triggering the Soul Warden. Counter on Heliod. 17 power on Heliod. How much devotion do we have? We have 3 devotion, 4 devotion, so we're only 1 away. Shouldn't be too hard to land something. Opponent's going to use the Thassa ability on the first Sliver. Going to have to do it twice, though. So does it again, taps it down. There's a Mimic Vat. Right now, we do need to gain... We need to gain 1 life somewhere. If we can get a creature off of Tyrant of Ruin. Here comes a Courser of Krufix. There's the 1 life we need. We are up to 48, by the way. Soon to be 49. Enchant Permanent is enchantment and loses all other card types. Weird. Seems maybe bad for Heliod. Might sit on this Heliod's Intervention. Heliod, an 18 power. Opponent plays a land, gains a life. Oh, that's a Sphere of Safety. We'll need to get rid of that at some point. Blight and Obedience will trigger. We do have this Heliod's Intervention in hand, which I really want to use to destroy artifacts and enchantments. Because opponent, Tuvasa, very clearly on an Enchantress deck. And yeah, a lot of people talking about Heliod's Intervention. It is a solid card. Those are 2 very useful modes. Obviously, the Destroy mode is probably going to be your primary, but you never know when you need to gain life to an Alpha Strike to survive it and then potentially win on your next turn, or at least continue surviving. And in a life gain deck like this, it's obviously going to be even better where there is a payoff for gaining life. But even in a non-life gain deck, gaining life to mess up someone's attack does work enough of the time that it's relevant. So Heliod gets another counter at the end step here. What are we on? 19. Afara is going to get a draw trigger. We draw a Daxos Blessed by the Sun. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Let's get a... Oh, what order should we go in? Get Dawn of Hope. Get Knight of the White Orchid. Oketra's Monument will trigger. That'll make a token. That'll trigger Heliod and the Dawn of Hope. Put a counter on Heliod. Pay for the Dawn of Hope. Draw a card. It's a Rogue's Passage. Yes, we just got to survive to our next turn and people die. Although Thassa can tap us down, which seems bad. Knight of the White Orchid enters. Soul's Warden triggers. Heliod Sun's Champions trigger. Counter on Heliod. Dawn of Hope will trigger again. I'm going to let this one go. Use the ability. Get a Plains. We have a Plains. Play the... Oh, do I want to show the Rogue's Passage? I don't want to show the Rogue's Passage yet. Yeah, play the Plains. Play Legion's Landing. Trigger Heliod.
Heliod's at 21. That seems like plenty. We can start targeting other things, I think. How about this creature with lifelink? Not going to pay for the Dawn of Hope. We're having a pretty good turn 6 right here, especially no mana rocks involved early on, so pretty cool. Pretty cool. Anything else? Daxos we can probably do. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield or dies, gain 1 life. Might go Aura of Silence at the end step here just to slow down the Tuvasa player. Swing into lower to the board, send a couple extra creatures just to make sure we flip the Legion's Landing. Legion's Landing flips over. Lower to the board goes down. And with that, we go Aura of Silence. And then pass the turn. That was a pretty good turn 6, if I must say so myself. Obviously, we got a little bit of help from GVR to tap down the blocker. But, you know, even if we didn't, if we started pumping, like, horses and stuff, I don't know if it kills them. It's probably not lethal, but still put a lot of damage on them. Start pumping other things. Start pumping things with lifelink seems like a smart idea. Dawn of Hope looking pretty good. Wish I had more mana to spend late in the game. Whew. Late in the game with this kind of stuff out? Yeah, Dawn of Hope just going to be a game winner. Tyrant's got a Sandworm Convergence on top of his deck. Definitely one that can't stick. Causes major problems for us. Oh, creatures with flying. Okay, we don't have too many flyers. We do have some ways to get flying in the deck, though. Abzan Falconer being one of them. Victory's Herald being another. Well, I guess Victory's Herald's in the graveyard, but it can come back. We have Recursion for that. I'll see what Glenn's got. See if he's got Mass Bounce or anything like it. He's got a lot of mana is what he's got. Mana doublers. Those are nice. That's a clever impersonator. Let's see what it goes after. Is this any permanent? Any non-land permanent? Hoo-hoo! Goes for an Aura of Silence. Rough. Bad day to be Tuvasa. Oh, that's an evacuation. Sadness. All the creatures getting bounced. Still a bad day for Tuvasa, though. Champion of Wits enters the battlefield. You may draw cards equal to its power. If you do, discard 2 cards. Okay. Everyone's still full on cards, which is, like, not the best. Trinket Mage coming down. Yep. It comes in tapped. Opponent will get to search for 1 mana card. It's a Seat of the Synod. And they'll pass like that. Probably about time to blow up the Cage Sun. This might be the big removal turn for us, but if nothing else, we got a lot of things to do this turn. It's going to be tough to do all of them. Thassa is going to target the Champion of Wits. Comes back in. Opponent draws more cards. Argothian Enchantress coming in. Extort trigger. Gonna be tough to get those enchantments in. They gonna be expensive. Return to Dust targeting both Aura of Silences. Okay, with that being the case, I'm going to shoot this Cage Sun because that needs to go away. And I was actually thinking about doing that on our turn anyway because I really want to take the proactive line and get our Heliod and Soul Warden and Knights and all that sort of stuff back into play. Which means we don't have the mana for Heliod's Intervention this turn, so I was thinking about using the Aura of Silence to shoot the Cage Sun anyway. So Cage Sun down, opponent's going to blow their Aura of Silence to shoot the Blind Obedience. It's actually good news for us. All of our stuff's going to come in untapped. It's pretty good. But opponent can cast things freely now with both Aura of Silences going down. One with the Stars. Enchant creature or enchantment. Enchanted permanent is an enchantment and loses all other card types. So it can never be a creature? Is how I understand that. That makes it harder to interact with, I think. Opponent's going to sack a land, draw a card. Yep. Afaro gets to draw at the upkeep. That's a Sword of the Animist. I would love to get a trigger or 2 with that at some point. I don't know the perfect sequencing of this, but I'm going to go Soul Warden, which triggers the Oketra's Monument. I'm going to go for Heliod next. That triggers the Oketra's Monument. We gain some life. Dawn of Hope triggers. What are we doing the rest of our turn? This is going to be Daxos, I think. That's going to be the Knight of the White Orchid, and that gives us 1 to draw, or we can get the Sword of the Animist into play. Oh, we should get the Crested Sunmare in, though. Crested Sunmare is so good. What's Crested Sunmare? So if we go 4... we're going to skip the card draw right here because we have good things in hand currently. So Heliod is back in. Get Crested Sunmare. Let's start pumping stuff up. I guess pump Heliod. Yeah, we have the Rogue's Passage. So that seems like a good idea. Triggers Heliod. Triggers Dawn of Hope. Heliod's now a creature. Let's get the Knight of the White Orchid. Didn't do a land count at all. But I haven't played our land yet. triggers Heliod. Souls Warden triggers. Oh, nope, we don't get the land right there. So we have more lands than our opponents, apparently. Or we're tied. Keep pumping Heliod. Maybe we're going to stop doing that, actually. Well, if opponent taps us down, that's like most of their mana. Not paying right there. And let's get a Plains. Then play Daxos. What are we pumping up? Start pumping other members of the team. Let's wait, actually. Who's got lifelink? Anyone got lifelink? No one has lifelink currently. Maybe we'll pump the Knight of the White Orchid. Or, we'll stay on Heliod. Why not? Probably could have got Daxos earlier in that sequence, but, again, just not super comfortable with all these lines. Crested Sunmare making a token at the end step. Souls Warden and Daxos will trigger. Dawn of Hope also triggers. More triggers. Yeah, this is a pretty ridiculous thing we have going on right here. There's a Riptide Laboratory for opponent. Yeah, that's a good one. Can return a wizard you control to its owner's hand. So we've rebuilt really well. We are still a large threat. Opponents need more removal. Unfortunately, Mono Blue probably does have a pretty good amount of bounce. Yeah, there's an Ether Adept. Alright. Heliod going back to the hand. I was worried about that. Yep, Heliod going back to the hand. We do get some triggers before that happens. Let's start pumping up some horses, I think. Maybe Daxos? Pump up Daxos? Let's pump up the Knight of the White Orchid because the first strike is actually pretty good, so just in case some blockers come down. But we can still get horse tokens, and the horse tokens do have the ability to do some damage for us. Yeah, I knew I should have spread the power around a little bit more. Alright, that's a lesson to be learned right there. I fell in love with the fact that we have the Rogue's Passage in hand, but like I know that Thassa is really good against a single target, but the fact that we wreck their mana with the doubler going down really makes it so it's going to be pretty painful for him for a little while to actually use that mana to tap our stuff. Opponent's going to cycle a wizard into a Trophy Mage. Soul Warden continues to trigger. We're up to 60. Aetherflux Reservoir would make this a really quick game. Trinket Mage and Champion of Wit's doing some attacking. Oh, nope, they forgot about the Sphere of Safety. Thassa and Crested Sunmare will trigger at the end step. Thassa on the Ether Adept. Yep, that's going to bounce one of our tokens probably. Souls Warden and Daxos will trigger. Can't pay 2 at this time. Ether Adept. Targets the Crested Sunmare. That's probably better than actually targeting one of the tokens. The tokens are still there, so gives us something to attack with. There's a Mystical Tutor for opponent. That's during the main phase, though. Do they have a way to draw with a tutor? They could with a Farah if they play a creature. Rift, again, is a problem. Goes for an Enlightened Tutor. So, tutor for the tutor. I think there's going to be an Omniscience coming down. That is what I think. Tuvasa coming into play. Open the vaults. What? Oh, this is going to get wild. We're going to get some stuff. We're going to get a lot of stuff. We got Boots, Well of Lost Dreams, Sun Droplet, Ashes of the Abhorrent, Aura of Silence. Opponent gets Mirari's Wake, Nylea. Blind Obedience is back. Imprisoned in the Moon is back. And GVR gets Sword of Feast and Famine, Blade of Selves. That one's bugged. Cunning Evasion. When a creature you control becomes blocked, you may return it to its owner's hand. Crystal Shard, Mimic Vat, Cage Sun. Ooh. Dawn of Hope, Well of Lost Dreams trigger. We can draw a lot of cards. How do we finish this game? Took out the finishers, now would be a good time for him. A deck like this makes you feel like there should really be a white Cryptolith, right? I think that does force us into the Heliod's intervention, though. We need to blow some stuff up this turn, because opponent's got a lot of good things back. Here's a Song of the Dryads on our Aura of Silence. So, sacrifice the Aura of Silence. What's the biggest thing we need to get rid of? Probably the Sphere of Safety. Looks like 8 targets that we really want to hit with the Heliod's intervention. That's going to be most of our turn if we do it. Sun Droplet and Afara will trigger. A lot of triggered abilities in this deck. That's a Cleansing Nova. Well, we could just go Artifacts and Enchantments. We have to give up on our own stuff, which I don't love. I think we have 2 of our card draw pieces. Probably better off just tapping out for the Heliod's intervention. Let's play the land. So things I want to get rid of. We want to get rid of Cage Sun, Mimic Vat, Crystal Shard. This one, we should probably get rid of that too. Love to get Heliod back into play though. Although, does it just keep getting bounced? It probably just keeps getting bounced. Do we have the ability to just, like, wipe anyone out? We can put boots on Heliod is what we can do. Now we're talking. Okay, get Heliod. It's going to trigger Sun Droplet and Oketra's Monument, because we used Ancient Tomb. It'll trigger Daxos and Soul Warden. Triggers Well of Lost Dreams and Dawn of Hope. Think I'll go for the Well of Lost Dreams draw for 1. It's a land. Well of Lost Dreams, Dawn of Hope trigger again. Soul Warden, Daxos trigger again. Heliod counter on... Maybe pump up some of the 1/1s. We'll go on Daxos. Get him to 3 power. We'll draw for 1. Oh, it's an Odric? What? Uh-oh. What abilities can we get on our stuff? We're just in a sea of triggers here. It's becoming very difficult to play on Magic Online. I forgot to draw right there. I planned on doing that. We need to blow up some stuff, though. We'll have to go X5. Maybe we just Cleansing Nova. We have so many good things, but... Yeah, I think we're going to hold the Cleansing Nova. Boots on Heliod. That needs to happen. Heliod's Intervention for as many as we can get. It's going to be 5 targets. Going to have to choose them carefully. Definitely Mirari's. Exploration. Sword, Blade, Crystal, Cage Sun. Oh, that's 6. Get rid of Crystal Shard, I guess. Lay waste to a whole bunch of stuff with Heliod's Intervention. Just going to send everything at the blue player. They have the ability to make life really annoying for us. It goes no blocks. It goes down to 11. Yeah. Sun Droplet will trigger on their upkeep. It's going to trigger Heliod and all the other stuff. Pump up this, so we're pumping up these tokens. Oh, there's so many triggers. That's a Deadeye Navigator. Cool. Well, they don't have that much mana, so... Guess it's not the end of the world, but... It's still an annoying card. Does it on the Aether Adept. Gonna bounce the Aether Adept. Soul's Warden will trigger. Gonna target a horse token. Yep, it's a good source of damage for us. And gonna bounce the Aether Adept at the end step off of the Thassa trigger. Or blink it, rather. Triggers all the stuff again. Nope, sorry, that wasn't the end step trigger. Now it's the end step trigger. That was the Deadeye trigger. Doing it all again. Aether Adept on our Daxos. Daxos gets bounced. Sun Droplet triggers on our opponent's upkeep. Worried about that Enlightened Tutor that they have. We gain a life with the Sun Droplet. Let's pump a thing. Let's pump this 1/1. There's the Enlightened Tutor's main phase, though. Good chance that we messed them up by blowing up a good number of their things. Yeah, there's the Omniscience. Cool. See if we're dead. Suppose we could have waited on Heliod's Intervention. No, then opponent untaps with a bunch of crazy stuff. It's Greater Oromancy. We still have Cleansing Nova. Likely, if we survive Cleansing Nova on enchantments. Oh, the Enchantress probably draws the deck. Need him to hit a bunch of lands in a row. Yep, here it all comes. It's an Courser. A land on top. That's good news. Oh, wait, no, they can play the land. They already played a land. Need them to whiff. Nope, there's a Karamitra. Another land on top. Karamitra triggers all of our stuff. Oh, yep, okay. So Tuvasa is going to have trample and be huge. Gross. Yep, now it's got 39 power. Could have held on to the Heliod's Intervention. Yeah, I knew Omniscience was probably coming. It's got trample. We can't block that much, so... Yeah, I think we're good to scoop it up here. Well, at least this time we got to look at the deck. So, you know, the big thing is if we put in Walking Ballista and Triskelion, then we probably win the game from that situation because we had so much card draw that theoretically we should find one of those or one of the tutors for it, and it doesn't take much at that point. But we definitely got tangled up with the blue player. Blue is not a thing you want to face when you're playing mono white. The ability to like tap and bounce and all that sort of stuff is really bad for what you're doing. The Enchantress player just doesn't seem to get hit by that as hard. And, you know, even though we rebuilt really well, all of that disruption from the blue just slowed us down so much. You know, if our original army just sticks, then, you know, the game's over very quickly. But obviously they need to interact with it somehow. But yeah, you know, mono blue is not the thing you want to be facing when you're playing mono white. We already got the Teferi's Protection milled, so that happened. You know, if we run into our Aetherflux Reservoir somewhere, then that takes a player out of the game and is good news for us. So anyway, I thought the deck played pretty well. Probably a matter of getting the interaction tuned up just right. Probably still needs a bit more removal. Find out which things are a little too slow. We didn't ramp particularly good. Could use a mana doubler somewhere in this deck. That was actually a thing I noticed. Everyone else was just able to make more mana than us, and that was even with Oketra's Monument in play, doing a lot of things for us, so that was a problem. So still some things to tweak in this deck. And I guess we could have held up the Heliod's Intervention. If we just wait and shoot the Omniscience, then life isn't nearly as bad for us. They get like 1 or 2 triggers, and then, you know, we're probably fine after that. But yeah, so probably could have played it just a little bit better with that card as well. Just kind of forgot that it was an instant. Just, you know, got excited to use it. And yeah, granted, opponent had a Feast and Famine and some other stuff that was going to be bad for us also. So, I don't know. Tricky spot. Maybe we could have went Cleansing Nova on Artifacts and Enchantments and then just held up Heliod's Intervention for 1. That's still 8 mana to do that, but we could have gotten Heliod back into play with that, which is the main other thing that I wanted to do if our commander doesn't keep getting bounced. So, I don't know. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.